This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Ham sandwich, no good Hambone. What's next? What's next? Now, Hambone, am I getting royalties on that show since you're referring to yourself as Hambone?
Sure. I'll check with Josh.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome again to In the Zone with Hambone and Joshy Poo. I'm Joshy Poo. Hambone, how's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good. I hope everybody's having a good night and enjoys the show.
My thoughts exactly. My sentiments exactly, Hambone. Hambone, I want to ask you, are you a slippers guy? Do you wear slippers?
I do not, no.
See, I was in that camp for the longest time, and I got to tell you, I'm becoming obsessed. I bought these slippers, Hambone, and I swear I'm obsessed with these things. I got them on now.
Nice.
You know, as soon as I get home, pop the slippers on. I said, look, it started innocently, like, I went to check the mail. I put my slippers on. No one, everyone checks the mail with their slippers on. Then I went down and got a coffee at the 7-Eleven down the street, right? And that's passable. But last week I went to a restaurant with my cousin, and I'm wearing the freaking slippers. So it's gone too far, but I can't stop. They're so comfortable.
Those slippers are way over on you, man.
Oh, these slippers are over.
They are over.
So holidays coming up, Hambone. Are you a holiday guy? You and your family get together for the holidays, Christmas? Is it big in your family?
The biggest thing for us is Thanksgiving. Christmas is more crazy, kind of like running around seeing this person, that person, worrying about the gifts and, the kids and the family getting their stuff. Right. Thanksgiving's just much more relaxed and laid back, usually just going down to my brother's and just kind of relaxing, hanging out with him and his wife and my niece.
Oh, that's nice. At least you have that one day to hang out. I mean, it's like with my family, we really drifted apart once everyone started to grow up. My grandparents are in their 90s, and when we get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas every other year, it's like everyone just stops in and makes cameo appearances to say, their piece to everybody. And, I guess we'll see you next year. And that's basically our family atmosphere now. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Just is what it is. A lot of families are like that nowadays.
Especially American families, right?
Yeah, Americans are, drifting in their own ways, doing their own things. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of that, my sister is about to have yet another baby, and it's going to be right around Christmas time when she should be popping that thing out. So it's, wow indeed, because this is her 5th.
Wow,
and
it's a big family.
It is a massive family, especially when each one is as wild as they are. And she also has 2 stepkids, so it's just
goodness.
It's, a lot of little feet, a lot of running around, a lot of chaos.
I always feel bad for kids who have a birthday around Christmas because I always feel like those kids get gypped.
They do. My oldest nephew, who's about to turn 18, his birthday is January 5th, and
oh man.
That's the due date for my sister's newest one. So they're both screwed a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot. There's going to be a lot going on there when that baby comes.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, it's just interesting. I'm 31 years old, and I'm going to be that old uncle to this baby. And it's just, it's wild. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever be really attached to this little one as much as I can be to the rest,
Yeah.
Dude, did you see... Dave, did you see on Twitter, we here at In the Zone, we're only on our 3rd episode, but we received an honor today, and a big honor.
I saw that.
Did you see the award given by the Hall of Fame of Big Josh TV? We made the cut. We did.
We did that. Thank you, Josh. I know we both appreciate that. and I know everybody else on the brand appreciates that. Josh, you're a great guy, and I'm happy to have you as a friend, sir.
What a lovely man. I'm so
Good
proud.
man.
So proud. I have so many people to thank, but hopefully we could keep up the pace and make 2019's Big Josh TV Hall of Fame. Boom.
Did you see? I saw where somebody else posted talking about that. I think they responded to Jeff, and they said, I'm surprised Hambone wasn't first. So that made me pop. You'll have to look for it. But I think Steve Mancini posted it. I think that's his name. It was really funny. You know, I think he was commenting from Jeff's nomination and award.
I mean, he has a point. You are the freaking Hambone. How can
You're the freaking Hambone, bro.
We were actually the last nominees, so.
Yeah, very honored.
We just made it.
We made it.
Hey, speaking of awards, you know, we're at the end of the year here, and I think In the Zone is going to give out one award for the inspirational person of the year, right?
Right.
That's going to go to the Minnesotan. The Minnesotan.
Jesse the Body Ventura and Kurt Hennig, among others.
Minnesota.
All from Minnesota. All from Minnesota.
The Minnesotan endurance runner, Courtney Dauwalter, who just finished a 250-mile endurance race on the Moab terrain in Utah. And she finished in 58 hours. The second place was 10 hours later. So she's crushing people in these endurance races that most people don't even know are happening in this country. Just an impressive athlete. Have you checked her out, Hambone?
I have read about her and listened to some of her interview with Joe Rogan, and, you know, heard about some of the other races she's been in. And yes, she's a very impressive, very durable individual. She ran that race without barely sleeping, that big 250-mile race. In another race, she ran like the last 12 miles or so blind because of some type of eye condition.
She is a beast. And,
she is.
Like you said, she barely slept in that 250-mile race that took her 58 straight hours.
Right.
And she took 2 naps, one for 20 minutes, the second nap for 60 seconds. And, you know, she was face planting into the ground damn near. So her pace walk runner told her, you know, lay down, quick, take a nap. And she insisted, you know, just 60 seconds, wake me up in 1 minute, you know. So she does. She wakes her up and she's complaining, why'd you wait so long to wake me up? Because she thought she was asleep for like an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, she went into full REM cycle and she had dreams. It's insane. It's insane.
And she could have slept for an hour or two and still won because of how far ahead she was.
She could have slept for 8 hours and still won. Exactly. It's very, very impressive. Like, she doesn't even stretch. She doesn't even do warm-ups. She just starts running, you know. And she doesnn't have she doesn't have a ultra athlete diet. She eats nachos, candy. Yeah. She drinks beer.
She eats like Kenny Bolin.
She eats like the Star Maker. Yeah.
Hey, back in the old days, son.
I mean, this lady, dude, she hallucinated during the long run she had, and she was seeing a guy playing a cello while running next to her. And knowing she's hallucinating, still have the mentality to keep going and finish the race. She is a savage, man.
Yeah. She's a very, very impressive and very unique individual. Not a lot of people could do that for so long on such tough terrain, and on the top of that.
Right, like
you're saying. It's not like she's just running around a track for 58 hours.
Exactly. And these races are really impressive, and they're not – I haven't heard of these up until I found out about her, really.
Same here.
Yeah, it's like – and she's kind of becoming a bit of a name now, so hopefully there's going to be more attention on these because they're really entertaining, and it's pushing the boundaries of what humans are capable of, you know?
Exactly.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah, very good.
So – as we all know, Vince is off of Twitter. We also know that he just inked a deal with what is it, Aro Lucha?
Aro Lucha, yes.
Right, and
yes, working with Conan.
I was so happy to hear this, and I was so happy to hear how enthused he was after his first day there and tweeting out how it was the greatest day that he ever spent a day of work in a wrestling business, so that was really cool. But
I was very happy to hear that news. He deserves it. I hope that this organization does well, and and it can be one way that he can prove the detractors wrong again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Helping this company become successful.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of one of their. I think it was a live event. I don't think they have a TV deal, right?
I don't think they do at this point. I think they're just really starting out from the ground up.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a picture of the live event, and the atmosphere looked good, and the place was packed. So, hey, hopefully something could come from that. Yeah. This is very exciting news.
Exactly. So I'm very happy for all that, him and that company.
Right. You had a lot to say about Vince's recent decision about getting off of social media, and I wanted to cut to that to see what you had to say.
I'd like to talk about Vince Russo quitting social media. I understand and respect why he did, and I'm very upset about it, though. Let me tell you, Vince shouldn't feel that the toxic negativity keeps him from speaking his mind in a public forum. People are given the right to speak. We are American citizens, most of us, and we have the right to speak, and we have the right to express ourselves. And Vince Russo feels that he has lost that right in the Twitter world. But Vince, I understand why you did. I'm kind of bummed that you are. I hope that maybe you reconsider one day, but it's your right to step off that medium and focus on your website. But to all these people out there that are negative and lash out at Vince every day, why? There's things on television we don't like. Even though we might like the show, a lot of people were upset about The Walking Dead and how violent the season 7 opener was a few years ago when Negan killed Abraham and Glenn. That shocked a lot of people. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan, had people see him in real life and had some backlash, but nothing near like things that Vince has gone through over the 20-some years of his career, especially since the late 90s in WCW. Can't you just leave the man alone? That's what the man wants, people. He just wants you to leave him alone, or at least address and speak to him in a respectful way. You can have your differences, but you can handle them in a respectful way. That's the art of politics. One of the arts of politics is talking and working things out and respectfully disagreeing. There have been many writers go in and out of WCW, WWE, TNA, and none of them seem to face the amount of backlash that this man does. Why don't you just talk to Vince instead of continually attacking the man? Maybe if you would talk to the man, maybe you all could find some common ground and work things out. Can't we just be more civilized? I mean, I see positivity all throughout the brand's Twitterverse with all the fellow brand members I'm getting to know from all over the world. There are so many kind people who help me, who send me kind words, who ask about my condition, because yes, I have the debilitating condition that happened due to a car wreck. So I understand what Vince is saying, talking about depression. Vince went on Twitter was a firing squad for Vince every day that Vince had to stand in front of. Vince has not even been a writer for any wrestling show for 6 years. Just move on. We should be thinking about the people in plight all over the Middle East and Africa that are in conflicts, and people getting attacked, people living in fear of being woke up and shot or assaulted in some way. That happens in so many parts of the world, and here we are fussing about a TV show. So please, why can't we just leave these people alone if we don't like it, if we don't like them, if we feel that we just have to attack them every day? What does that really do for you to attack somebody every day? Why can't you just leave them alone, and live in peace? Go on with other things in your life. Focus on improving yourself. Why don't look at the thorn? Don't look at the thorn in Vince's eye when there might be a log in your eye.
Can you believe Yeah.
A television show causes so much anger and hate. The internet, social media world has condemned Vince Russo to basically damnation because they don't like some of the things he did, many of which were almost 20 years ago now. Get over it.
Dude, that's a perfect way to describe it. They have condemned him to damnation, you know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing he can do to be forgiven, you know? He's just a public enemy number one. So
no, none of them will talk to him. They just bash him behind his back, on their shows and so forth.
Yeah.
Even though he's always got the open invitation out every week, every day.
Hey, but I understand and appreciate why he jumped off of social media because the guy has I don't know how many followers, and the amount of hate the guy gets is more than I've ever seen. So
it's ridiculous. I
just related to a small sample of what I went through. Do you remember about it was like 6 months ago when Disco asked if anybody at a wrestling live event, if they see a hot girl, tweet the picture to me. You remember that?
Yes, that's been going back and forth, been brought up several times ever since that came out. And
Right.
Ryan Satin had a conniption fit.
Yeah, at the time, Anders Ong from Russo's brand, as we all love and know, the Wade Keller killer Anders Ong.
Good man from Singapore.
Yep, he sent Disco a tweet of a live crowd in a Singapore live indie show, right? And
right.
It was a picture of the entire house, and there was like 150 people, and you could make out that in the front row there was maybe one or two girls there, and somebody just jumped on Anders and said he was victimizing these women, and he didn't have their permission to take the pictures. He's a voyeur pervert. So I had to jump in and defend this guy because that's not what he's trying to do, and it's like they smell any opportunity to label somebody
and the labelist.
The labelist
society. That's what they are. The labelist society. He's this. He's that. He's the other thing. They're awful. They, so forth and so forth. They're sexist. They're perverts.
Everything in the book.
They're you doing this without permission. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's silly. And Anders, he messaged me after seeing me go back and forth with this lady and asked me, is this the snowflake behavior I've heard so much about? I said, yeah, Anders, welcome to the game. And yeah.
You're arguing with someone who doesn't even understand the philosophies of all this stuff, based in the liberals of America, spread, as far as somebody from another country who has no clue how all this stuff works. He's just kind of heard about it because people in Singapore are different with a totally other culture and whatnot.
Exactly. And she had no clue not only about that, but she didn't even know who Disco Inferno was. She had she'd been tipped off by some wrestling mark, Yeah,
exactly. By just go spreading through social media.
Yeah, and
getting retweeted and condemned and so forth.
Yeah, and her being the ultra feminist that she was, she decided to use that as a platform to just hate. And I felt so bad for Anders Ong. So I could imagine what Vince has to read and hear every day. I would get drained and want to leave social media as well. So I respect.
And you just can't keep blocking and blocking and blocking people.
No.
You'd have thousands and thousands of people blocked.
Yeah, and the people you really need to block, they'll just make another damn account and harass you,
That's the problem with it. They can just keep harassing you, harassing, unless you make your account private, and when you're a public figure, you really shouldn't do that. That's the only way you can really keep them out from seeing your stuff.
Yeah, that's what happens to Big Josh every now and then, is people want to harass him, and it's like the same people, so they just make a new account.
Like that guy, that super ugly, weird guy, the young Republican. He has like 1 million accounts, apparently.
Okay, I figured he was the number one suspect of the guy who's fucking with Josh the most, but I thought it might
probably would be, I would say.
Yeah.
He likes to mess with people.
Yeah. Okay, this next segment on In the Zone is going to be called Ask Hambone. Dave, I'm going to be throwing rapid-fire questions at you. I'm going to be doing a word association. So the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear these names or things, I want your answer. The first thing off the top of your head, okay?
Okay, right.
All right, here we go. Matt Lauer.
Matt Lauer, pervert.
Pervert. Good answer. Here's a string of three named celebrities. John Wayne Gacy.
Serial killer.
Indeed. Haley Joel Osment.
Probably an attractive female of some sort, maybe.
That's a good guess. Yeah, he's a beautiful man, but I'll take it.
That's good.
Scott Casey Gale.
Scott Casey Gale, the brand's famous and own Scott Casey Gale.
The veteran of the brand, Scott.
Veteran brand associate.
Scott, if you want to give the brand members a Christmas present, if you film yourself cutting a paper bag promo on all of us, I'll send you money. Please do that.
I would definitely pay for that much more than donating money to bowling.
I can afford to eat any damn thing I want.
Here's one. Hinklemania.
Big Josh Hinkle.
Ba-boom. Okay, and the last one, this should rile you up a little. Ryan Satin's girlfriend. What do you think about when you hear Ryan Satin's girlfriend?
I'm Erica Steiner. I'm a white feminazi.
Let's just refer to her as Steiner. I don't want to even humanize her
like that. Steiner. The
I
evil
wish
Steiner bot.
I put her in Steiner recliner. The succubus.
A lot of things about her.
All right. Moving on. Hambone, did you see The Walking Dead this week?
I did, yes. Very anticipated. Very interesting episode. Very interesting cliffhangers going on.
Man, that
was
a
lot different from the comics.
There was explosions every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was
every
an
5 seconds
show,
something was getting blown up. Just about all of Alexandria got blown to smithereens. It was a very action-intense episode. I was not a big fan of a lot of the writing because a lot of things didn't make sense as to how they happened so quickly. How did the Saviors get out and, organize and plan on who to send where and how to track these people down and, launch these 3 attacks simultaneously on the Kingdom, on Alexandria, and then tracking down those people who were driving on the road from Hilltop. That just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as that goes.
It seems like they get away with that kind of thing here and there. So, yeah, I'm kind of, it's my interest in the show is kind of fading, and it just seems like the investment in each of the characters, for me at least, isn't there anymore. I'm not really, I don't really care who stays or who goes, I think it probably peaked 2 years ago.
I think so. Season 6 was very good.
It was very good, and that's when a lot of the like the heart of the show was removed. That you took out Glenn, you took out Abraham, you took out Tyrese, you took out all these people who were really characters who were still attached to themselves before this entire zombie apocalypse, and seems to be the show's pattern.
Very disappointed about Carl because I have read all the comics and Carl's still alive in the comics, and there are some really good stories with Carl that are told, going forward, with Negan and with him having a girlfriend and him just kind of becoming his own man. In a lot of ways, I think the comics are better. Some of the characters are better in the comics. Some of the characters are better in the show. Andrea is the best example. She was much better in the comics than she was on the show. and the Governor was much more ruthless in the comics because they could be much more graphic.
Gotcha.
He was very mild by comparison, and even Negan has been much more mild because they can't, with the language and some of the other stuff, they can't go that far on TV where they can in that graphic novel.
You know, the first episode of last season when he, killed me, when he killed Abraham and Glenn,
right?
That was extremely graphic. So I don't know. Maybe they have a limit on how many times they could push it that far. But
I'd say so.
Right. I was thinking, this guy was just going to continuously go on these killing rampages, and since then he kind of it's just a lot of speeches and a lot of comedic relief. Really, he's like a very likable character when it comes to like the cool factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they would make him more unlikable. I really do.
One of the things about it, I'll say, is I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan does such a good job that it's hard not to. You know what I mean? He is an amazing actor.
Yes.
He does such a good job, and you do think of Negan in the comics when you do listen to this guy.
Right.
And I think that's part of it.
I think that he is such a great actor that sometimes people miss some of the dialogue that he has, because sometimes it's extremely corny, and the fact that he's so into that character, he pulls it off though. So I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, Hambone, this next segment is called Hall of Fame Tweets. And what it's going to be is we're going to read tweets that are addressed to us or we're involved in that just stand out amongst the rest. And tonight, I'm going to read a couple tweets from our personal hero, Mr. Dave Meltzer.
Oh, my goodness. Get out a dictionary for this.
Here we go. Yeah, we'll need one for one of these, because there's one tweet that's like a riddle wrapped in a mystery.
I think he wants to be the Riddler.
Okay, so back in August, you remember when he was talking about Billy Gunn working for New Japan and how that was somehow a disgrace to New Japan?
Yes, it was awful for Tanahashi, the performer, and just him being involved with the New Japan product in any way. How dare you tarnish the great almighty New Japan?
Exactly, and he knew how he was phrasing these things to distance Billy Gunn from any legitimacy of wrestling. He's just
and get his marks, in that mindset, basically.
Exactly, and
working his crowd, basically.
So, that provoked me to have to reach out to Davey. And I said, I tagged him and told him, I guarantee Meltzer won't share his opinions of Billy Gunn to the man's face. Meltzer Magoo has 2 stars where his balls once were. And Dave, Dave really can't help himself. And he replies to a lot of this stuff. He can't help himself.
Mm-hmm. It's part of his ego, I think.
It definitely is part of his ego. So Dave quickly responds back, and what opinion might that be? So, I had to respond to him again and say, Dave, you've been insinuating that Billy Gunn shouldn't be wrestling from New Japan, and with smart-ass comments, and
exactly.
He responds, no, just that he shouldn't have worked with Tanahashi. I had no issues with him being at Wrestle Kingdom or working in a tag tournament. So basically, he's wanting Billy Gunn to be relegated to the undercard, and Hiroshi Tanahashi should be only wrestling the top guys. And Billy Gunn certainly, at this stage in Billy Gunn's career, she just can't be in the main.
He can't be with the main boys of New Japan. He's not like Okada and Tanahashi and the Bullet Club and the Bucks and so forth.
Right. And meanwhile, if you do any research on this, Hiroshi Tanahashi he requested Billy Gunn as his opponent for the event.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sure, a lot of those guys would love the opportunity to wrestle somebody like Billy Gunn or others who are Hall of Famers or are going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Right. I'm sure there's plenty of them who would love that opportunity and request that. Because, they look up to these guys. They have respect for these guys that these dirt sheet writers can't get because, Billy Gunn, I associate him with the entertainment and DX. That's not cool.
Yeah, and now with Dave's little comments like that, it spreads and it becomes almost a fact like Billy isn't good enough to work in a Japanese promotion. have you seen Billy Gunn lately? Have you seen the man? He's a horse. He's like 6'6", 250 pounds, and he's still built. I don't understand.
He could take out most of WWE's current roster today.
Absolutely.
He could have a fight and take out most of them.
If there was a real fight with him and Brock Lesnar right now, it would be competitive. Billy Gunn. So. Yeah, Billy Gunn is no small man.
If he fought somebody like Zayn or Kevin Owens, that would just be a squash match.
Oh, ridiculous. At 55 or however old Billy Gunn is, he still looks much more of a legitimate wrestler than 90% of the roster.
Now, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you!
No.
Again, Dave, in October, I reached out to Dave. After hearing him so confidently say, if Vince McMahon were to ever have a biography written, it would be best if Dave wrote the biography, because he has the most knowledge and information about Vince McMahon. Not Shane McMahon, not any one of his family members maybe wanted to write it.
Not Bruce Pritchard, who's worked with the man for 20-some years.
Not Vince Russo. Yeah. No, Dave Meltzer. He's the most qualified to write a Vince McMahon bio. So, having heard that, I had to reach out to Dave. So I sent Dave a little message with a GIF showing Mr. Magoo looking at an eye test chart, like at the DMV, and I put. Dave, I'm excited for a possible V. McMahon bio written by you. You're the best man for the job. Hey, I heard that Ole Anderson's writing your bio. It's called Seeing Stars. And
that's awesome.
No. When did you
You should have been a booker.
What?
You should have been a booker.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know everything about it. You should have been very successful.
Not in this era.
You're the most knowledgeable person I've talked to. Almost in my life. Next time Brent calls me, I'm going to tell him to go shut up. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I'm going to talk to Dave Meltzer.
All right.
Listen, it's just impossible to talk to you.
Okay.
You're like an awful lot of people that I've known in my lifetime, and I guess I must be like some people you've known.
Yeah.
I did it, and you wish you could.
No.
And Dave, burned by this comment, responded quick. Dude, he responded in like a minute. So he says, good to see your command of the English language. So he tries to take a cheap shot at me because I'm using substitutions like the number 4 for the word for, because this was when tweets were however many characters.
Yeah,
and
before they doubled the size, basically.
Basically, yeah. And this jackass is trying to burn me with a smart guy comment, right?
Exactly.
And I had to fire back at Dave and say, I know. It's my lack of command of the English language that has prevented me from getting over, much like Nakamura. And that boiled his blood. So Dave came back.
You don't want to mention Nakamura to them, or Barry Nakamura to them. That's like sacrilege in their world.
To Dave, that was akin to me calling his mother a whore. He just lost his mind and came right back at me.
He's so vested in this stuff, he just can't help it, like bowling.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes, who was responsible for the highest price to get in on secondary market after a sellout of a WWE show in its history? This is after he insults me about my command of the English language. Let me read this to you again so you could freaking understand what he's saying, because I still am a little confused. Here, he says, who was responsible for the highest price to get in on secondary market after a sellout of a WWE show in its history? So right away I had to respond by saying, don't forget the ratings Nakamura pops. And I don't know about you, Dave, but I can't leave my house without seeing Nakamura shirts on 9 out of 10 people. It's like I go out to eat. There's a Nakamura shirt. I go out shopping, and there's a Daniel Bryan shirt. Hell, I went to the dentist the other day, and the receptionist was wearing a Finn Balor shirt. It's everywhere. I can't escape it, Dave.
Yeah, it's just WWE Universe Mania has just spread around the globe. It's just at its golden age point in history.
How delusional are you, Dave? Man.
Just like he went to Hot Topic a week or two ago, and he goes in Hot Topic and he looks for merchandise, and he says he just stumbles on the Hot Topic, and we all probably know that Hot Topic has merchandise of his favorite people in the world, the Bullet Club, Young Bucks, and so forth. And so he goes to pay, and the checkout lady, she recognizes him based on the credit card. Oh, you Dave Meltzer. Oh, my manager talks about you all the time. You're that wrestling journalist. And so forth. He's going to be so upset he missed you coming here. And then another worker who was working there freaked out. And
it's like Beatlemania when Dave goes in public. Dave Meltzer.
Dave Meltzer.
Girls are taking off their shirts. Dave Meltzer.
He tell him to put it back on. He tell Nakamura to take his shirt off before a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, the manager probably told them all about you because he's a big mark for the Bullet Club and so forth. And they're putting out the merch, and he's talking about them and talking about these journalists who are, big into covering these guys and how the Bucks named a move after him. So that's why everybody in the store knows who you are, because their manager's such a mark for you, for your product that you like.
Exactly. Here's what I bet happened. Dave went to the mall for whatever reason, and he walked by Hot Topic, and I believe him. I bet he hasn't been in there, but I bet you that the Young Bucks shirt was in the display window, and he was like, hey, Young Bucks, huh? What's this store?
Yeah. Hot Topic, I've heard. The only thing he would know about Hot Topic is the fact that they might have that.
With ramblings like that, I have a theory on Dave, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but even though Dave hadn't ever had a wrestling match, I think the guy has CTE, and I'll tell you why. I think that Dave Meltzer is at home practicing these maneuvers on his bed and bumping his head constantly. This guy is all over the place. He's not rational. He lashes out at people. The guy has brain trauma.
He's got New Japan on full blast in the background. He's trying to master the move the Young Bucks made.
Yeah, Meltzer's listening to Japanese commentary. The guy's out of his mind.
Arabian commentary, Japanese commentary, Portuguese. Yeah, he's just totally lost it.
Anything but English.
Anything, yeah. It's better in any language but English.
That proves that you're such a great wrestling fan. I listen to the commentary in Japanese.
That's what the true fans do.
This is what I learned from Super Ugly this week. On Super Ugly this week, they made quite a love connection, actually. Love Connection. You remember that show, Love Connection, Dave? Chuck
Love
Woolery?
Connection, yes, back in the day.
Super Ugly guys, they made a love connection. It was between the two mods.
No, but hey, here's a little breaking news for you guys. I might be heading to New York pretty soon, so...
I don't have a ponytail yet.
All right, that's for real, Lupo.
So, Meds.
We're definitely going to get out and we'll do
Yeah.
So, if I were to go to New York, would you do me the favor of, maybe, going out with me one night?
Lupo and Madalena, they decided they've been chatting. He's been flirting with her. He's been kind of a bully to her at times. And they've gone back and forth. Now Lupo has, become her BFF, which is cool. And they both called in last week.
You better bring your wallet. We're going out. Hell yeah, I'll go out with you.
Okay.
Yes. Whoa!
That's awesome.
Super Ugly show, bringing romance together. I love it.
And they set up a date, Super Ugly style. So we're going to be hearing all the details of this date soon.
Hey, they sure did. It was a first for Super Ugly. It was meant to be. But I got to tell Madalena one thing.
Super romance.
The super romance from the Super Ugly show. Hey, I just want to say one thing to Madalena real quick is...
You want to make a proposal of some sort, my friend?
Yeah, Lupo and Madalena. So they got a scheduled date, New York City. But I want to make a plea to Madalena. I want to tell her, look, it can't just be dinner only. The ginger race is going extinct, and we desperately need strong gingers in our society. And I think you and Lupo would create just a hell of a... Madalena, just give it a try. Come on, see how it goes.
Give it a try, give it a shot. You know, make us all happy. We'll have the first super ugly wedding one day, maybe.
Ladies love Lupo, right?
Yeah, Lupo's the man. He's a character.
Vince, let's go.
Jeff, here's why this show sucks off the bat. I didn't even care. Vince McMahon sucks, bro. Do you understand? You shoot an angle, that's the shit. They're pussies, bro.
Bust somebody's ass
You
open.
just took
all this guy's flavor
He
away.
really
does suck as a heel. I can't stand this guy.
Oh, yeah, bro, you're bitter. Get your shit together. So freaking illogical. Are you freaking kidding me, bro? And I'll be honest with you. All right, let's go. Okay, Jeff Lynn, do you have anything you want to throw in there?
No.
Dave, this next segment's called Making Waves, and I'm just going to mention some people who have been on Twitter blowing up the scene. And the first person I want to mention is a young man named Ryan Balukas. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing
Velvet
it.
Pilot from Dover, New Hampshire.
I think it's @Velvet_Pilot. This guy is all about the brand and has just breathed fresh air into this whole group. And it's very nice to hear his comments. It's very nice to interact with this guy. Go check him out. Follow the guy. He's a great dude.
He's very supportive, very kind, very enthusiastic, very cool to talk to. He really enjoys all the different shows that the brand makes. He had a really good call in on the Super Ugly last week.
He did.
And, you know, he's always retweeting and getting a kick out of different things he sees within the brand community on Twitter. He makes me laugh with some of his comments on it. So, you know, I consider him a good one of our newest brand friends.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Ryan in the mix. Yeah, Ryan's
I'm glad
cool.
he can join. I'm glad he's here. He really is a good guy.
Another person making waves who the whole brand is familiar with is Retro Shred. And, you know, I just want to give a special shout out to Retro Shred because he's doing the right thing. He's holding out until a certain jackass goes away.
Well, Josh, if that is your real name.
And I totally understand and respect his decision. So Retro Shred, shout out to you, man. You're doing great.
I respect the fact that he has done this. I don't want to see him hurt Vince, but, you know, sometimes people look at it, you know, we put our money where our mouth is. We don't agree with this. We don't agree with what these actions that have been going on. So we're going to withdraw from, you know, paying to support that until it changes because we want to change. And he's not the only one.
And to Retro Shred and those two other members, I think one is Emmanuel Thomas.
Emmanuel Thomas, and then Mr. Austin's the third one that I saw. There's probably more. Maybe they just haven't posted it. But I would almost assume there'd have to be more at this point.
Right. So, yeah, shout out to them. Another person, you know, that's going around on Twitter is Herb Crackerjack. Herb Crackerjack has a Twitter now, Dave.
Wrap your mind around it. Take care, everyone.
And people need to start following this man. He's saving the bees one at a time, and it's the only platform he could get his message across. We gotta support this man. Follow Herb Crackerjack, damn it.
The bees are important to the pollination of our crops, and I enjoy having honey on different things. So we do need to think of the bees.
The bees are our allies.
Bees are our allies. They're our friends. They're allies.
These are our allies in this global world we live in.
Hey, another thing, Dave, I got like 5 mud pies in the mail. Did you get any mud pies from somebody on Twitter?
I got about 4 mud pies in the past few days, and I'll say my residence is never going to smell the same.
Yeah, this Denny Pizza Crusher Nolan came out of the woodworks, and this guy's making some waves.
He is making big waves. He's getting over with a lot of the anti-bowling crowd, the super ugly guys, us, Ryan, who else? Retro Shred's getting a kick out of him.
Yeah, he's making everything a little more fun.
Off my expense, off my time and effort.
He is definitely like the perfect anti-bowling villain that we needed at this time. There's one, tweet I want to read today, and the response is extremely funny. He tweeted, this was tweeted last night.
Okay.
I can't wait till them Girl Scouts sell them cookies. I single-handedly make a girl the highest seller in the nation every year, son. Them boxes get smashed and carbified in days of arrival at the castle. Might need Retro Shred to rent another U-Haul to deliver them all. And here's the response. U-Haul company. Sounds like a plan. We'll be ready to help. U-Haul truck rentals, moving trucks, pick up the cargo. The actual verified U-Haul account picked this up and responded.
Oh, that's gold. You know what's funny?
God, it's one of the funniest things. I just saw that. I was like, I got to read that today.
Oh, man.
Tell you.
You know what I thought was hilarious is what Retro Shred tweeted in regards to one of those Denny Pizza Crusher tweets is
the Carb Masher, I think, or
the Carb Masher. Yeah, Retro retweeted Carb Masher and said, "Is anyone else hearing Kenny Boland's voice as you read these tweets?" And
I do every single time. I think
every
a lot
time.
of us do.
Every time. It's a little outlandish, but I could see Kenny saying about 90% of everything that guy says.
When I was listening to that Facebook Live last night, I could hear it. Yeah, let me just, and some of the things he was saying, like he was going on about some 15-pound burrito that someplace in Louisville served. I'm like, what? I could see this being on Twitter next tomorrow.
Oh boy! Hey, we both here at In the Zone wish Denny all the success in the world, and we hope that your fifth kitchen is up and running as soon as possible.
Yes, we've donated to that. Retro Shred, he's delivering it in his U-Haul apparently. And we've sent Denny pizza makers and milkshake machines and waffles. What was it like?
Snow cone maker.
Snow cone maker.
He's loaded now.
He is loaded. The brand really seems to love this guy, and they've given him donations for his kitchen and new oven.
Hey, it's a lot of mutual support here at the brand, and he's been generous enough to offer us 43 minutes of airtime, and then we'll accept that gladly.
He's giving people airtime, unlike Mr. Bolin, who acts like he's too good for everybody except for Chantel and Mr. Russo.
Exactly. Yeah. This guy is a team player. Keep the mud pies coming.
Yeah, and he sends us free stuff. I mean, you can't beat that. He even pays for the shipping.
He got Chantel some beautiful flowers. He's a gentleman. Southern gentleman.
You can't beat that. Those nice flowers he sent. That was really polite. Bud.
I said Kroger soda.
I sent Kroger soda, not Pepsi Cola, son.
Okay. Hey, speaking of Chantel, people, you need to go check out Chantel Air's SoundCloud page because she's doing some amazing stuff. She's not as active there as she used to be, but there's probably 100 songs that you need to go listen to. This woman is a musical genius, and there's a lot of good stuff there. Go check it out.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. She's a very creative and talented individual.
Definitely.
Because he's my little Joshy Poo.
And lastly, Dave, making waves going around is I got a little collaboration going on with a certain brand member that should be released within a week. So pay attention and look out for that.
Nice. I'm definitely excited about that. You've made some good videos. I got to throw a pop out to you. You made an amazing Kenneth Bolin Troublemaker video that's very popular.
Much.
And, I know you're very happy to take credit for that. And I want the brand to look that up if you haven't seen it yet. Or even if you're not somebody in the brand, you should look up how Josh did a remix on this jackass for all the trouble he's caused.
I'm very proud of my work.
Son,
Very good stuff.
You know, I had to. You know, over the course of the week, Kenny showed his true colors. Super Ugly Guys reached out to him to try and get him booked on the show.
Yeah.
And after he opened his mouth and said he would give everybody 15 minutes of airtime, suddenly
that's what he said. He said
quiet.
he'd unblock everybody. He would follow. I don't know if he said he'd follow people, but he'd unblock everybody or most everybody. Then he would, you know, go and be on their shows for 15 minutes. And then he unblocked people and then blocked them back. He followed people for like 15 minutes and then unfollowed them. And then he's ignored people. And
playing games.
Yeah, games. The only people he'll talk to are Vince and Chantel. He just acts like he wants to crap on everybody else, pretty much like he's too good for our time.
Exactly, and he knows what he's doing. And I'm going to reiterate the same thing. I think Rocky said it last episode of Super Ugly when he said, "Who do you think you are? All these people have come on our show. Why can't you? Disco Inferno, Vince Russo, Big Vito. So how does it come across when a guy like Kenny Bolin,
big chili dog and burger cookouts.
Kenny Bolin can't show up for 10 minutes of time to give this team, you know, this is a team effort, and this guy has no mentality of teamwork.
He does not. It's all about me, buy my merch, get me a free meal.
Yeah, I'll see you at the chili dog and burger cookout.
So nobody better steal my hot dog, son.
Hambone, you got any movie recommendations? Have you watched anything recently, or any movie recommendation at all?
I did. I watched Sunday night before Walking Dead. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I thought that was an excellent sequel.
Oh, okay.
Excellent acting, a lot of good action, a lot of story to explain the Star-Lord's background and where he came from, and just very, very, Batista was great. I mean, I definitely recommend anybody checking that out. Even if you just rent it, I think you would enjoy it if you like Marvel type stuff. I think this is one of the better Marvel movies.
Okay, sounds good. I like the first one, so I don't know why, but I just had no interest to see the second one. I don't even think I saw the preview, but I got to check that out.
Definitely worth your time.
This movie, Fat City. Okay, I'm kind of obsessed with older movies, like early 60s to late 80s. And this movie's from 1972. It's called Fat City. It's with Stacy Keach and Jeff Bridges. Stacy Keach plays this guy called Billy Tully, and he's like a washed-up boxer. He's broke. He's hungry. He's a drunk. And he finds this young, talented dude, Jeff Bridges, and he takes him under his wing. And you know, it's just really a realistic look at pro athletes who aren't a success and who have a lot to contribute but are just down on their luck for whatever reasons. You know, the best parts are with Stacy Keach and his love interest, because they're just both drunks, and there's just some wild scenes. Check that out. It's really good.
I'll have to check that out. It kind of reminds me of The Wrestler.
It's a bit like that. Yeah, it is a bit like that. There's a lot more humor in it, but it's yeah. Hambone, let's get into plugs. Okay. I want to mention this new show on the brand called Spilling the Teen Mom Tea with Vince Russo and Noelle. Miss Noelle LaGrasso. Have you seen this show, Hambone?
I did listen to it over the weekend. It was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know anything about Teen Mom. I'm not a big fan of the concept of these shows, because I feel like they could encourage people to maybe make decisions before they're ready. And I thought, maybe I'll do this and I can be on one of these shows making a bunch of money someday. But Vince and Noelle really do love the show, and they make it interesting to kind of like be curious about what these people are doing. And with young women that age, and all the drama, I'm sure it's more dramatic than anything on WWE programming.
And we don't even have to tune in to watch. We just could listen to Vince and Noelle talk about it, and you could tell that it's a much more appealing show than Raw. So go watch that show. It's a really fantastic show, and I love the combination there. I like Vince and Noelle talking on a basis now. It's going to be fun to watch.
I definitely agree. Good combo.
You know, maybe here and there, Vito could pop in and sit on her lap.
Vito says he doesn't want anything to do with the TV when Teen Mom's on. He does not like the show either.
Vito's off somewhere trying to figure out another way to cheat at video games.
Yeah.
Another video I wanted to mention is Rue's Christmas special from New York. I don't know if everybody's seen it. It wasn't on Vince Russo's YouTube channel, but it's a really cool artistic video of Rue just exploring the city during Christmas time. And he's out in front of NBC Studios. He's by the big tree. It's really good stuff. People should go watch that.
I have to check that out. Rue's a very entertaining guy. I definitely am a fan of Rue, and I miss the days when Rue was on the Raw review shows. I'd much rather see him on there than Mr. Bolin. That
would be a much needed substitute. Yeah, Rue's a terrific guy, and the guy, like I'm saying, he was out visiting NBC Studios, and that's where he should be working. He's such a talented man, and I think with the right writers, he could hone any character that comes to his mind, and really underrated talent. Rue's very special talent.
I agree with that.
Hambone, where can they find you on Twitter?
They can find me at Hambone4481. Always happy to chat with anybody who's interested.
Go hit up the freaking Hambone. Go say what's up.
Always happy for a happy.
And you can find me at Josh CKP, and go check out the YouTube at Copycat Productions, Cat spelled Katt. You can find a lot of Russo brand remixes there. As Dave mentioned earlier, the Troublemaker Kenneth Bolin remix called Biscuits and Gravy that I know all you brand members will love. Go watch that.
Yeah, you will definitely get a pop.
Hey, Hambone, that does it. I want to ask you something really quick before we head out. How do you keep an asshole in suspense, Hambone?
I have no idea.
I'll tell you later. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Everybody have a good night.
All right, take care. I said Kroger soda.
I sent Kroger soda, not Pepsi Cola, son.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.